Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're going to be ranking every single dinosaur from the original Jurassic Park movie from 1993, based off of their aura. Now, essentially, if you don't know how this works, we're going to just be taking a look at the dinosaurs, take a look at their scenes, and rank them based off of how much aura they have, with S tier being the highest amount of aura and F tier being the lowest. So, pretty self-explanatory. We're not going to explain it forever. We're just going to jump right ahead into the very first dinosaur on our list, that being the Brachiosaurus. Now, I can't lie to you. Initially, I thought this would be a high up creature, all right? Because you might be thinking of a certain scene and you see this giant, magnificent beast rearing up on its hind legs, making the noises that it makes, all that jazz. That would grant it a lot of aura. It would give it a lot of aura if it wasn't for one particular scene that comes on later in the movie. But let's yap about this scene real quick. That scene being where the Brachiosaurus sneezes on Alan Grant and the two kids in the tree. Now, you might be thinking, how does that decrease from its aura? How does that lower it on the ranking? And let me break it down for you, John. So essentially, okay, imagine this giant, huge beast, okay? You see this, and it's awe-inspiring, pretty much. You know, this is the first dinosaur you see in a movie, I guess if you're not counting raptors, and it's also the largest dinosaur you see in a movie. So all of that, you know, it's like, oh, this thing is huge. This thing has an immense amount of aura. And then when you see it again, it's just chowing down on plants and sneezing on you. See, that just takes away from its aura, you know? Now, obviously, I'm not saying it's a bad scene. Obviously, I'm saying it just decreases the amount of aura the Brachiosaurus has, which is going to land it into B tier. I can't lie to you. But moving on to something that's going to be going lower than B tier, that being the Parasaurolophus. Now, these dinosaurs were only in the movie for about 2 seconds, okay? And they were kind of overshadowed by the Brachiosaurus because they're kind of in the background drinking water from the pond, and you were mostly focusing on the Brachiosauruses. And so you weren't really focusing on these guys. I'm pretty sure you could hear them, but like, you don't really see them up close. And again, they only have like 2 seconds of screen time. So like, first off, they barely do anything. And second off, you can barely see them. Like, I can't lie, that's just going straight into F tier, dude. They don't have that much aura in this movie to begin with, because like, again, you could barely see them on screen, and they're only on screen for 2 seconds. So how are they supposed to get aura or be higher up on the list? Pretty sure Parasaurolophus going into F tier is self-explanatory. What's not self-explanatory, though, is on why the writers of Jurassic Park fumbled on Triceratops so hard. So let me kind of break it down for you again. You have this giant beast, all right? This giant thing that killed T-Rexes back in the Mesozoic. And what do you decide to do with it in this movie? You have it be sick, sitting next to a giant pile of shit. That's all you got for this thing. All right? That's its only scene. It doesn't fight a T-Rex. I don't even think it sees a T-Rex, unless you're counting the Jurassic Park game, but we're not going to be counting that for this. It's just a movie. Literally, this giant beast is just sitting there, and its tummy hurts. And it's sitting next to a giant pile of shit. Like, I don't know. I can't lie to you, dude. That's some immense aura loss, dude. Imagine going from T-Rex killer, all right, to my tummy hurts. All right, that's essentially how this thing works. However, I will give it more credit than the Parasaurolophus because you could actually see it on screen, and it actually played an important role in the movie. So it wasn't like completely useless, at least aura-wise. So we're gonna put Mr. Tummy Hurts Ceratops into E tier. We're gonna move on to the Dilophosaurus. Now, I can't lie to you. These things initially, all right, they don't have that much aura because they're like smaller. They're on the smaller side of the dinosaurs in this movie. And originally, you know, okay, when you see them, they're just small little dinos, all right? They're like kind of like, they make the owl noises that everyone's heard. They're kind of like curious looking guys. That's kind of the impression you get. And then they spit acid all over Dennis Nedry's face and then eat him. So I can't lie to you. That is some aura on its own, all right? These tiny little guys eating this giant guy. But Dilophosaurus played a good part in the story. And kind of had its moment to shine, moment to show how much aura it has. So in this movie, Dilophosaurus goes into B tier. That's how much aura it has. However, the Dilophosaurus does kind of lose a lot of its aura later on in the franchise with a movie named Dominion. So if you want to see me rank a bunch of dinosaurs from Dominion based off their aura, make sure you subscribe because we're trying to hit 10K before the end of the year. So let's go ahead and do it real quick. Anyways, someone else that's quick other than John in bed.
Damn!
is the Gallimimus. Now, these guys, they kind of do have a lot of aura, all right? I mean, Alan Grant and the two kids are in the field, and then these guys kind of come out of nowhere, dude. A whole stampede. Like, these are herbivores that actually feel dangerous, because, like, the real-life Gallimimus wouldn't be something you mess with, dude, because these things are, like, actually huge. So in the movie, they're kind of, like, they're not really attacking Alan Grant and the others. They're kind of just, like, stampeding, like I said. But still, just them stampeding, Alan Grant's like, oh, shit, I need to hide, you know what I'm saying? So they have aura to them, I guess you could say. And there's kind of a threat to a herbivore, which really isn't shown that much in later movies. It kind of becomes cannon fodder. So, but in this movie, they're kind of a threat until they get eaten by a T-Rex. Not a T-Rex, the T-Rex. They get eaten by the T-Rex. So that does kind of decrease their aura. I can't lie to you. I mean, you see this whole stampede, you know what I'm saying? Alan Grant's hiding. And then the T-Rex comes out of nowhere and just easy peasy just gets a free meal, just like that. So that does kind of decrease their aura in the movie. So it's going to bring them down into C tier. What's not going into C tier, though, is the Velociraptors. Now, the Velociraptors were, I mean, I'm pretty sure they are the most terrifying in this movie. I could be wrong, correct me in the comments, but I'm 90% sure these are the most terrifying adaptations. And also the most, like, vicious adaptations of raptors in the whole franchise. Essentially, literally the movie opens with someone getting eaten by one of these things. So that alone brings it pretty high up on the aura scale. But then again, you have scenes like the kitchen scene, all right? We all know the kitchen scene. You know, them running along the kitchen, trying to hunt some kids. I mean, one of them does get locked in a freezer, so that kind of does lose some aura. But, like, I don't know, just like the presence they have, you know, like their toe claws tapping on the ground, them blowing their breath on the window of the kitchen also gives them some aura. Them opening the door gives them some aura. I mean, just in general, the raptors just have a lot of aura to them. So, I can't lie to you. I was originally going to put them into A tier, but I'm pretty sure we got to put the original Raptors into S tier. They just have so much aura, and they're the main villain, I guess you could say, of the movie. At least dinosaur villain, if you want to call them that. So, yeah, we're going to put them into S tier, and we're going to move on to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Now, I can't lie to you. This was like, I'm pretty sure this is the best a T-Rex ever had in the franchise, at least aura-wise, because it's kind of undefeated. Kind of just did whatever it wanted. All right, so first off, you have the breakout scene, which we all know, the original breakout scene, all right? You have the glass shaking, all right? You have the goat being flung on the car. You have the it breaking out the fence and roaring. All of that gives it some aura. You know, it eating the guy on the toilet, I guess, gives it some aura. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, dude. And then later on in the movie, it fights the raptors. It eats the raptors or kills them, I guess. And then the banner comes down saying, when dinosaurs ruled the earth. That's just perfect. Literally the embodiment of aura right there. I can't lie to you. At least for this movie. Compared to other Jurassic Park movies, some of them do it a bit better. But for this movie, the T-Rex just does it perfectly, dude. There's literally no reason for the T-Rex from this movie to not go into S tier. So, not much explanation needed, but literally just a few key points I gave you already kind of sums up why the T-Rex is going to S tier. However, there's one more question we have to answer, that being which dinosaur from the original Jurassic Park has the most aura. Now, obviously, it's up between the Velociraptor and the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And obviously, if you watch the movie, one of them gets eaten and one of them doesn't. And the one that doesn't is the winner, I guess you could say. That being the T-Rex. I can't lie to you. The T-Rex does have more aura in this movie compared to the Raptors. Especially because the T-Rex did not get locked up into a freezer. So, that is the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Again, trying to hit 10K before the end of the year. But if you don't do that, and in case we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.